That's me. And you're probably wondering, where's the rest of the podium? Well, it all started that morning.
My racing age is 67. It used to be that I would train in the rain and I'd do races in the rain. But now, I don't. I don't know if you can tell right now, but it is raining. And I just taken off for the race site, which is about 2 hours away. The reason why I'm doing this is because they have a separate 65 plus category. Now, I got an email last night from the promoters saying, park here, don't park there, and that there's so few racers that have signed up for the race that we may combine categories, and that'll be determined at the race site. So I'm going to be back racing with the younger group, which I really don't want to, but the 65s are going to be picked separately, so that's okay. So the race I'm doing is Copperopolis Road Race. It's also known as the Hell of the North Road Race for California. If you're not familiar with that race, let me show you some clips from last year, and then you'll get an idea.
Bob and I did another 14 minutes of hard chasing in order to catch someone else. And it was about that time that my legs pretty much gave out. Still had the bumpy roads that you're seeing now. In fact, you'll notice that the insert that I had for my rear camera is not there. I use a Fly 6 camera, the Cyclic Fly 6, and the primary design for that is to watch for traffic in the back. If I get in a crash, say by getting hit by a car in the back, the camera will stop recording in order to preserve what it had previously recorded. When you're just running the camera mode like I am, these batteries last for anywhere between 4.5 to 6 hours, so battery was not an issue. I think it was just so bumpy that it seemed like it was a crash. So now I'm letting Bob go. I just don't have the legs to stay up with him. Jumping ahead to the middle of the 40-mile-an-hour twisted descent, I came upon this, unfortunately not so rare occurrence. There were ambulances and medevac helicopters in the first flight, and I heard and saw ambulances in the second flight. This only solidified the nervousness I had for this ascent. It used to be back in my younger cycling Greek days, I would bomb this ascent. I'd have people beside me, I wouldn't care. All I cared is about getting to the bottom so I can get to the finish before everyone else did. Now, all I'm thinking about is my front wheel. I am not going down that again.
Well, by the way, hey cycling community, this is Steve versus Cycling Greek.
It's windy. I may have lucked out because of the rain. And I think there's only 2 people in my race, which means I'm going to put this with the younger group. What are you going to do, right? Okay, safe ride, everybody. Even though this is a hella hard course, there were 2 main reasons I wanted to do this race. The first is it had a separate 65 plus category, and the second is it showed one of my main weaknesses in last year's edition, end of race strength. And in last year's edition, that showed up about a third of the way through the race. I started working on that issue in earnest during the off season, and even though I had some favorable results in early season racing, this was going to be my big test. Originally there were 9 people signed up for the 65 plus category through pre-reg, but as the weather solidified in terms of showing that it was going to be raining, a lot of them dropped out and a lot of them actually didn't show. So we ended up with 3 people, Bob Montori, Big Joe Allen, and myself. Now, Big Joe is probably doing what I often do in these cases. When you see rain, you're thinking the big hitters aren't going to show up, you're going to go out there and you're going to get a podium spot. Right now, you're probably looking around and thinking there's a lot more than 3 people in this pack. I was speaking with the chief rep before the race, and I was wondering on how he was going to combine us. And the usual choice is to combine us with the 60 plus. They took off 2 races before us. The race before us was actually the 50 plus 4's 5's. So I'm thinking I'd rather be with the 50 plus 4's 5's rather than with the 60 plus that have 2 current and past national champions in there. When I presented the idea that I'd rather go with the 50 plus 4's 5's, he said, "Aren't you a Cat 3? I said, "It's only a number. Besides, I'm almost 67. Bottom line, he lets take off with the 50 plus 4's 5's, and that's where we are now. And what a difference. I'm a lot more comfortable coming into this first part leading into the climb. And the person that you see in front of me in the red uniform there, that is Bob Montori. That's the guy I'm going to be watching, and he's going to be watching me. So I'm going to stick towards whatever the front pack is in case we get split, and I'm sure he's going to do the same thing. And if either of us are not with the front and the other one is, then that's a free ride to first place. As a side note, if we were with the 60 plus, right now I'd be drilling it, trying to hang on to the back to these guys. And this is again within the first couple miles of the race. Jumping ahead a bit, we had just passed the feed zone and we're now starting on the main climb. I don't know what's going on behind me, but these guys look like the guys I need to stick with. I'm not going to go to front to punch it or anything, not that I really can, but I'm just going to be riding wheels. Jumping ahead, we are now 10 minutes into this 15-16 minute climb, which is about 1.75 miles from what I recall. Though there are some repaved sections, most of the climb is like what you're seeing right now, just bumpy. I am toward the front. Most of the pack that's left is stretched out, and unbeknownst to me, because I'm just concentrating on staying with these guys in the front, Bob Montori has slipped to the back. If I had known that at the time, would that have made a difference in how I was going to climb this at this point? Probably not. I wasn't on the edge, but I knew I had a ways to go, and these guys are pretty strong, and I knew regardless, job one for me was get to the top with the leaders. 1 minute later, with still ample wall to go, I had to back off a bit and let these guys go. I don't think Bob Montori is up there. He's probably on my wheel, but I'm not sure. I now have to meter my energy and have to do what I can to stay as close as I can to when they get over the top. It is 1 minute later, and here's the situation. I am chasing with Russ Freeman. Now I know Russ, he lives in the area that I live. He's a pretty strong guy, so I don't want to get dropped. I want to be on his wheel when we get over the top, and that'll give me a better chance to hang on to those guys to see up there. We are being chased by a couple of riders, and one of them is just split off and he's trying to get up to me, and that is my competition, Robert Montori. Of course, I'm not looking back to see what's going on. And could I have done anything if I did? Again, I don't think so. If I was a little lighter and a better climber, then yeah, maybe. But then again, I am 6 feet and 163 pounds, so I don't have a lot of fat to lose. I do have a little bit, and I'm working on that. About 3 minutes later, we make it to the top, and Robert Montori has made it up to us. So now we are chasing about 5 50 plus 4.5s, and we only have one 50 plus 4.5 with us. And unfortunately for Russ, there isn't any advantage to either Robert or I helping him to get up to that group. Well, maybe the only advantage would be to finishing the race sooner. Russ did a good job to get us close. I decided to take a pull, and through reciprocity, Robert also took a pull. And that helped to get us connected. As we got connected, a couple of the riders attacked. They were off for about a mile before we were able to reel them in at the top of one of the small climbs. At this point, I'm feeling pretty good. I'm with the front group, and the only things I have to worry about now is that long twisted descent and then doing that big climb again. Or so I thought. At the other end of the course, the end of race strength factor was starting to rear its ugly head. As some of the others were intermittently surging or attacking, my bungee cord was starting to get stretched. It was taking more time and more effort for me to make a reconnection. Finally, this happens. We're going up a small climb. I'm starting to lose Russ's wheel. I am now trying to manage my efforts. I have all the 50 plus 4.5s in front of me, and I have Robert Montori in back of me. After a minute of chasing, we're now on a moderate hill, and Robert, who's been in back of me, sees that I'm not going to make it. So this is where he makes his move. He jumps up, he's able to connect, and I'm not able to connect. In hindsight, what I should have done is actually turn around, take stock of the situation behind me, see that Robert is there, and then slow up and then get on his wheel. About 20 seconds later, a select group from the 60 plus came by, including the 2 national champions. They gave me a quick hidey-ho, then off they went. I couldn't get on their wheel even if I wanted to. Just to show you what that twisty descent is like, we are now in the second half of that descent. I am trying to stay with this 50 plus 4.5 that came by. My hope is that I can stay with them and even work with them, while hoping that the group in front of us slows down a bit. Or that Robert is solo because he's been dropped and that we come upon him. And that I find is a big ask, particularly when we get to the final climb at the end of the lap. He gets to the top well before I do, he catches that rider that's ahead of him there, and now I'm chasing both of those guys for about 3 or 4 miles, and I give up chasing them when we get to the feed zone. If I have time to talk to the video, then I'm off the back. Okay, just finished the major climb. Hey, thanks for being out here. And I'm in second place. Big Joe also came and joined, but he has a hard time with these climbs. So you just got to keep rolling. I'll get second place. Of course, I am hoping that I see Monturi on the side with a flat. My legs are cooked. Still trying to go as hard as I can, but I got pain. I'm just about cramping here and there. Hey, thank you very much. You're on the video. Okay. Oh, thank the good Lord. 1 kilometer to go. Thanks for being out here, guys. Say hello to the camera. Bye. My right leg from my Achilles pretty much up to my about the middle of my calf. Pain. Hey, cameras. Done. So about 2 hours 42 minutes to go 46 miles. I'm gonna have some serious car legs when I get home. Hey, thanks for being out here. You're welcome. Thank you. Got my t-shirt, got my $7 for second place. I'm pretty happy. Yeah, my legs, if you see my videos, you know that I've been having trouble, at least the last season, with end of race strength. Did much better this year, and I've been doing things to improve that. But still, this is a tough race, and I'm gonna have some serious car legs when I get home. So I hope you enjoyed the video. Remember, comment, like, subscribe, and subscribe. I'm close to 1,000 subs, so close. Time for some sardine sandwich, the Cycling Greek.